7. Did you count 7, Pro Isaac?
Yes, indeed.
So
So
we're
we
good.
are. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, ladies, gents, and non-binaries of the internet. My name is LolBengals, and I'm here with a Hot Wheels World Race Elite League run with my expert commentator, Pro Isaac.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. It is lovely to see you all out here for this fantastic run, as I'm sure it will be. People are hyped for this in chat.
Everybody put a PR in the chat for good luck.
all
uh,
right. So we will be running, or well, Bengals will be running. I'll be talking about a run of the Elite League. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
yes, so Elite League covers all 15 tracks in the game. There's 2 of every theme except for the test track, which is Tesla's Cube. The AI are set to hard, and you're doing a full run through of the game. Pretty much what it is.
Yeah, and for that full run, we will be using a car. You might, well, you'll expect it for sure if you know Bengals even slightly. But most people will be using a car in the Wave Rippers called Golden Arrow.
Is it
If you
this
look
one?
at the front and the back, indeed it is. If you look at the front and the back of this car, it got a rounded sort of profile. This makes a trick I'll talk about in a short while much easier, much more consistent. It means you can slide off of walls. It's pretty great. Bengals has decided to eschew that trope, haven't you?
Yeah, I don't really like using Golden Arrow just because I don't really get the benefits that other drivers do. But I found comfort in Power Rocket here. Now, Proesic has assured me that Power Rocket is not a personality type, which I agree. The reason I like using this car is that, first of all, it's a childhood favorite. The design of it is really cool looking, but it also uh, shuffles pretty well, actually. Despite
Yep.
not having much testing done previously.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got, as you can see, that same rounded front that Golden Arrow has. The back is a little more meaty, shall we say. It's got a few powerful rockets back there that most cars would not. And of course, the weight is a big factor. It means that a few tricks have to be different. It's a style thing, you know. There's some style. In addition to these 2 cars, a few runners make use of different things. So SB, who did the first ever run back in 2017, used Tuna. Will uses power pistons, also a road beast, and yep, there's Sid Tuna in nice and yellow. Will uses power pistons, which is, it may not look the most round, but it is quite good, and its stats are decent all round. And, you know, people use things that they like. Valkyrie, a community member, uses Backdraft Recent Switch. I've used, in the past, So Fast, which is a bad car, and you should not use it. Don't use this car. It's awful. Except for one trick on one track specifically, where it is the optimal choice. And I like grinding that trick, because why not? But anyway, that's all the preamble we've got. Bengals, whenever you are ready, count us down.
All right. I also wanted to mention the main difference between Power Rocket and Golden Arrow is that Power Rocket doesn't handle very well.
Indeed, it is. It's a brick on wheels, and those wheels barely turn.
All right. With that out of the way, I'm ready to go. So I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so we are loading into the very first track of the game. This is Cloud 9, and it's time for me to tell you about the main movement tech that this game has. You are going to see it immediately. If you are to drift over a boost pad, then something funky happens. You go fast. The game tries to have a roughly 200 mile per hour, 199, whatever,
Yeah.
speed cap, and it always tries to make sure you go less than that and to bring you down to that level. When you go over a boost pad, it sets you to that capped speed, and that's, you know, it is kind of slow, actually, casually, for a racing game. So we decide to not be capped by that speed cap, because being capped is capped. Instead, we go fast by putting the drift into its boostiness, which causes the game to miscalculate how fast you should be going. This actually happens because you're being corrected your angle of your car is being corrected, but the way the game is doing that is also contributing to your forwards momentum, sending us forwards at insane speeds. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice indeed. You'll also be seeing here at the end of lap 3 something called a nitrox shuffle. So by using the nitrox bar on the right of the screen, we can activate boost anywhere. We don't need the pads, not always, and I'll talk about how to get those in just a second. First though, I should mention that this wasn't known about when runs began of this game. So the first couple of world records do play out like a casual gameplay, casual run-through, but fast. It wasn't until Waltic came around, who is in chat, lovely to see you, that we have some shuffling being introduced. It was only introduced on one track before being generalized by Eclipse later on, which was convenient. And it made the game much more engaging, at least from my perspective.
Satellite.
Yeah, Satellite, we are on, and it's not the meanest it's ever been, I guess. It is a peculiar track, as you may know, gone through an entire lap, and there's been no ramps at all. This is utterly unique in the game. And that means we can't use ramps to fill up our nitrox meter. So if you are to perform 2 tricks after doing a jump, and land perfectly, you get that little flash of colour as you land, then you will be given a full nitrox meter and you can use that as you like. Without a ramp to do tricks off of, we need to instead rely on these pickups throughout the track. There are 100 of them, and 19 on PC or 20 on console, which is one of many weird version differences I am far from qualified to teach you about. With that number gained, you will have a nitrox meter. So routing in this track especially is first about where you get those rings, so you can put the nitrox shuffles in the optimal locations.
And I recently had an accomplishment on this track.
Oh, is that so?
I set the new world record for time trial on this track.
Very nice indeed. Yes, if you want to see someone playing this game fast, then Bengals is not your worst pick by any means.
Yeah. Which
that's why he's running and I'm not.
I gotta give it to Drew though. His time was really hard to beat on this track in time trial.
Absolutely. Man's a machine, and we will talk more about him in time, I'm sure.
And he doesn't even use a controller. He uses the keyboard controls.
Yeah, I mean, digital controls, any Trackmania veteran will tell you, you can get a lot more out of the deterministic physics if you have a predictable digital input. But controller, it just nice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we're now on the third track, Vapor City, which I am... You know what, I'll admit to it, Emily. I am biased, but this is the best track, honestly. There are so many neat tricks that were either first discovered here or can be used here. So shuffling on this loop was where it was first discovered and was thought to only exist on loops for a while. Apart from that, that loop has what I like to call a forbidden technique, that being loop skip. If you see the central partition, certain cars... Well, no, all cars have a chance of going through that central partition, but some of them have a better shot than others. And that's why I use so fast occasionally, because I like hunting for loop skip. It's not good, don't do it. Additionally, there is that half-width ramp, the first one we're seeing. You can do the second of the forbidden techniques, quote-unquote, called half-ramping, where you slightly hang your wheels off the side of one of those ramps, and you get a lower trajectory, and therefore land slightly faster. Yeah, tasks. Even a tool-assisted speedrun wouldn't go for it. It's not worth it.
I keep messing up these fronts.
And in addition to that, there is It's fine, it's understandable. It's also the first place we see a branching path, at least in any significant margin, which I quite like, with that ramp and the downwards path next to it. It's just good. It's very good. I like it. I can't stress enough that it's good. Play this track. Even if you play none of the rest of the game. I didn't for months.
Ooh, Teslas. Oh, I've had a lot of fun with Teslas recently.
Yeah, it is a fun track, and I believe we'll have implemented. Yep. So that's something that I used to mention on a later track, but now have to because it's being implemented all over the place. That is something called a slingshot maneuver. And it's pretty much what it says on the tin. You go backwards, find a ramp, and use the speed from that to go all the way forwards and past where you would have been if you'd just driven forwards. For a long time, it was considered to not be worth it, but it was labbed out by Drew and a friend that you can save 2 seconds on one track, and that was where it was first done, and a marginal amount of time on a few others. So you'll be seeing it again. Something else that you've just seen for the very first time is the fast ramp, or FR if you want to confuse the Sonic Adventure 2 players. This is essentially a technique for using a boost twice, if I want to get a bit flowery in my language. When you use a Nitrox on a ramp, most ramps will allow you to go further and have more speed as you land. But that means you can't use your Nitrox on a straightaway and make a shuffle out. Well, with fast ramps, on certain points in this game, you can do both. You can pop that Nitrox early and maintain enough speed to bug out the ramp and have it predict as far, if not further, as we saw on lap 1, than you would have if you'd used the Nitrox on the ramp itself. This will be coming up later, as there's a couple of variations that I like to talk about. And you can use it on a lot of tracks. I'm not sure how many Bengals has implemented himself, but here on Tesla, the fast ramp.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I messed up this track badly.
It's okay, these things happen.
Oh!
Unfortunate, yes, because there's meant to be another Cloud9-esque Nitrox shuffle. Go over the finish there. Bad angles, oh well. Yes, anyway, what happens on Tesla's Cube is because we have this nice long straightaway with some easily followed walls, it becomes a really nice way to get your eye in for a fast ramp. It's where I first implemented them, it's where a lot of people did. There's our best slingshot, that's our 2-second one, as we're here on Space Out.
I hate this track.
Oh, everyone hates this track to some degree. It's lovely, it looks brilliant, it's fun to drive at the lower levels, it's good, it's well designed.
It's nice to drive if the burn treats you well.
Yes, exactly. So, essentially, there's a few things that can go wrong here. First of all, of course, you've got to get a good shot. Not too much, it's purely deterministic. That's the big difficulty that Bengals just had there. Going down the drop down and on the rise up around the start-finish line.
What?
Well done for showcasing both of them, indeed. That was the intention, right?
No, it wasn't.
Ah, dear. You'd have me fooled. Anyway, as was so inelegantly showcased there, if you go too fast on those sections, you'll actually get snapped back to the track with 0 speed reset to the middle, and it's inconvenient. If you picture a rubber band, a tether between the car and the track at any given time, it is entirely possible to stretch that band too much and have it snap you back to position.
Oh my
god. That is a bad reset.
I don't like this track, and this track doesn't like me.
Quite so. So there's people in chat who can tell you much more the precise measurements, but I think it's something around 300 and 260. 300 for the drop down and 260 for
290 for the drop down.
290 for the drop down. So yeah, it's finicky, and with a car that likes to go fast like Power Rocket, you can run into it more times than not.
I feel like I have to hastily defend myself. This car is good, I promise. I'm just kind of bad at driving it right now.
Yeah, indeed, these things a stylistic finish, I suppose we.
I mean, I'll take it. And now we go from my least favorite to my most favorite.
Yeah, and I think you're weird for this because it's not my most favorite in rookie tracks.
This is what we call get good.
Yeah, okay, skill issue, fair enough. This is Mist Mountain, which there is a meme in the community that there is no such thing as a good Mist Mountain split. And there is a reason for that, because remember fast ramps? Well, it's time to meet his more precise, scarier big brother, free ramps. So you'll notice the Nitrox meter on the right of the screen it's a bit empty. And that's unfortunate, because there's a ramp that needs a Nitrox in order to pick up a certain token. So instead, we'll do a fast ramp, and if all goes according to plan...
It doesn't.
It does not, that's a shame. Well, we could pick up that token without needing Nitrox at all. That's what separates it from a regular free ramp, fast ramp, you see. Even I'm confused by the terminology, and I'm the one who insists on it. So yes, that's something I should mention in more detail. There are these little flaming wheel pickups all throughout most tracks. And these unlock the orange barriers, as you saw demonstrated so succinctly at the end of the lap there. These are good to pick up, but they're not always in convenient places, and as we mentioned, or I mentioned, there is no physical way playing the game as intended to get that pickup on lap 1. So by doing a modified fast ramp, by using this Nitrox on the pad, on the corkscrew, we are able to collect that token without needing the investment, which is very nice. I'm receiving messages in the back room to remind people that this is a deterministic game, despite what it might appear. Everything you do is down to your controls and where your car is. There is no element of randomness, like you can't hold the stick for 1 frame and get 2 frames of input. But yeah, it is a very tightly made game, which is weird for something that's so catastrophically broken as Hot Wheels World Race.
Oh, I'm gonna have to depend on the free ramp now.
Yep, we're in lap 3. Technically, this is the new routing. I don't implement it in runs, and I don't think Bengals does either.
I do.
You do? Okay. So, we used to go up onto the sidewall at the end of the end of the lap. You got it! Nice one! There it is, chat.
Waltech is behind his computer saying, finally he gets it.
So yes, we used to, at the end of lap 2, go up onto the wall, collect another flaming wheel token, and unlock the ramp at the start of the lap. We don't do that anymore, at least not if we're going for the top times, because it wastes about a second and we could use another free ramp. Just hit free ramps for it. It's easy.
Sub 3? Yeah!
Sub 3. Nice one! Sub 3. I'm still hitting.
One of the biggest differences between Golden Arrow and Power Rocket when you were going for the wheel is that Power Rocket is long enough to where I can just send it into the bottom wall and still get the token. Golden Arrow can't do that.
That's true. Because of its length, this has, significant drawbacks, as we might have seen. But it also has a few advantages sprinkled here and there. It is definitely not a one and done. Don't always follow the meta, kids. Play what's fun. Play what you like.
That's what I do, and I have fun with mine.
Yeah. So, we've just gone into the Veteran League tracks. These are the middle portion of the game. This is the middle portion, rather. And I should tell you that the Rookie League, the shortest category that encompasses only those first 6 tracks, has a world record of 11 minutes, 25 seconds, .27. And that is, of course, set by Drew, who is fast at this game. He is, in fact, the fastest on average.
Oh, I didn't get it!
Ah, unfortunate. So there is a free ramp there at the start of Emerald Crater, which Bengals has been attempting to get regularly. And, your consistency is alright with it. It's just unfortunate, I suppose.
Yeah. At least I didn't overshoot it like I did last time with Super Tuned.
That was true, yeah. So in setup for this, using a different car, Bengals was trying for the trick and just absolutely sent it. I've never seen a ramp quite so fast as that. Alright, so on Emerald Crater, I should mention, by the way, we've talked a lot about these barriers, we've talked a lot about free ramps to get to these barriers, and so on and so forth. What if they weren't there? Wouldn't that be convenient? That would be nice, wouldn't it, Bengals?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good thing, then, that there's a mode where there are no barriers. There are also no rings. There's no enemy races, or opponent races, I guess. It's
Saved
just you and the track, and that is time trials. It's very, very interesting to get good at that.
Satellite City Time Trial is the best one.
Yeah, I can't imagine why you might be saying that. Not at all.
Because, I mean, there's no jumps, there's no rings, there's no
Yeah.
shortcuts. You have to rely on your driving skills.
That's true. It is as close as we get to a pure race run. There is no nitrox. So yeah, no rings means no nitrox, which means that tracks like Satellite City and Cloud9, where nitrox via rings is quite important, actually. We are faster in Quick Race and League, which, you know, they play out essentially the same, because we have access to those things, whereas in tracks like Emerald Crater, where you haven't got that, or where more time loss comes to not being able to go certain paths because they're blocked by a barrier. Because there's no barriers, the time trial ends up faster.
Yeah, that's true. And the ramp was nice to me today.
Very nice indeed. So yeah, it's something that makes it treacherous to calculate a sum of best for this game. Because you have to consider, okay, is it realistic to hit these times in time trials and quick race? Some of them are actually insanely close.
Yeah. Some are faster in time trial, some are in quick race.
Yeah, I think the differential in Vapor City is less than a second. It is just more evidence it's the best track of the game. No, I'll get off that high horse for now.
306.
Nice. So we're now going into the very, very long track that is long and indeed long. This is Deep Zone.
Did you mention it was long?
Ah, yeah, I forgot to mention that it's a long track.
And there's also a special trick here.
Yeah, which we will be attempting, though, well, yeah, let's have some faith. It might happen. This is Deep Zone, a track where even the world record is only barely sub 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And the main culprit for this is a spiral. A big old wedge of track that twists around and wastes a good 18 seconds. Honestly, who built these roads?
Ask the Accelerons.
Oh yeah. Well, fair enough, their priorities are weird anyway. So yeah, here's the spiral, and that was a particularly quick way of going around it, and you saw just how long it took.
Yep.
So we will be attempting on the subsequent laps to do another variation on a fast ramp. It's not free because we do have to use a nitrox for it, but this is Deep Zone Spiral Skip, if we hit it. And essentially, you can cut out that 18-second long drawling piece of track, and essentially anything is a personal best if you can hit that trick. It's huge.
It is. I'll also be using the new routing for this track.
Ah, yes, there has been some routing revolutions game as of late. Mentioned one of them earlier on Mist Mountain. But Drew indeed did advocate for that very funky wall ride. No, for the use of the nitrox early there.
Oh! I forgot that way wasn't open.
Yeah, that is closed because you didn't make up the...
Roads closed. Whoops.
Sorry. Oopsie. So yes, that can give you the spiral skip quality of times without having to go for this horribly inconsistent trick.
I forgot to do this. This is the thing.
Oh yeah, you were doing the new routing, showing off everything. There we
Yes.
are. We're getting variety. That's the excuse, and we're sticking to it.
Oh, AI, why do you do this to me?
They haven't collected the pickup. That is something that can happen, and it scuffed quite a few of my runs on Mist Mountain.
No, what had
Sometimes.
happened was like I was
Oh,
along the wall, but then they opened up the wall as soon as it
oh,
was on the wall, and my car
oh!
hit
So
the
you just
wall.
slip through. Oh, painful.
But I have enough nitrox. We're good.
Okay, so remember not to go for the shuffle along the wall.
Well, I mean, I was slow. I mean, what was I to do?
Well, yeah. So yeah, hold on to your nitrox, as Will is telling me once again in the back rooms. Go for the skip. Go for the skip. Go for the skip.
I am gonna go for it. All
Let's
right.
go. Give your hope in chat.
Give me a PR in the chat if you believe in me. Okay.
Ooh,
Nope.
not at all. That was.
That was way too far to the left, and it was. I did not give you permission to pass me. Get back.
How very rude.
This is my race.
So indeed, that is a very precise trick. You have to be in a very specific spot. You have to hit a very specific speed. You have to be at a very specific angle, and even then, with human level consistency, it's only about a 1 in 5 chance.
Yep.
It is a hard trick that even the current individual level world record only has. Actually, has it been beaten? I'm not that familiar. The old record only had 1 out of 2 laps where they went for it. We've got new routing now, so that might be outdated information. But coming over the line with a 409 on the longest track in the game, criminy.
Zodic, I'm disappointed in you. You let the slowest car in the game beat you in that race.
Unfortunate. How very dare. It's almost like they haven't seen the tier list.
Ooh, Dunes. I love this track for
Okay,
several
I've got
reasons.
confirmation. I've got confirmation, by the way. It is current world record that only has 1 spiral skip of the potential 2. So yes, take us away, Egyptian Dunes.
New routing.
New routing indeed.
I
Look
can still
how
get the
much
rings.
speed.
Yeah, I got 360 on that.
That is very, very nice. And indeed, we can use the rings to pick up all the boost we want.
You just gotta be sure you get the right amount.
Yeah.
So
you
here,
definitely can.
get that, and I'm not even gonna worry about it. I got the rings. That's all I need.
Yeah.
I should have hit that boost pad, but we're good.
Boosts for people who want to go fast. Wait a minute. Speedrunners.
Okay.
All right.
Speaking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, carry on. No,
I was
you're
just
right.
gonna say the amount of rings you need is different from console to PC.
Yeah. I mentioned that back in Satellite.
Oof. Am
It is-
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And there's another fast ramp just to be fancy. So we are, of course, in Egyptian Dunes, which is where I typically talk about the other Hot Wheels games that are run. There was a little bit of a stir in chat about the most recent game, that being Hot Wheels Unleashed. It's slowed down as a speed game, I think, because it's got some pretty mean shortcuts. So it's quite optimized. Excitement is dipped. That is unfortunate. So something I should mention there, just briefly as an aside, if you perform the same type of trick twice in a row on a ramp, so 2 front flips, 2 back flips, 2 left or whatever rolls, of all your potential options for rolls other than left, then you will be said to be stale. You're no longer hip and cool with the kids, as they would have said in 2003. I think that was the thing. And as a result, you will receive less reward for your nitro cleans, because even your car's engine can tell when you're not cool.
Hey, Power Rocket always sounds like it's about to explode, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, explosions are quite fast, as the soldier from TF2 will tell you. So yeah, back on topic to the other speed games. Whilst Unleashed is on a bit of a downturn, Beat That, one of the other Hot Wheels speed games, is on an uptick. There's been some interest recently regarding not exactly new skips, but new setups for skips. and it's an interesting ride to watch as on the sidelines. You can see all of this on the generic Hot Wheels, the Hot Wheels speedrunning Discord, which you can find, of course, linked on most pages for Hot Wheels speed games. In addition, there is a lot of love in this community. Hey, on your leaderboard.
Yeah, sure.
Silver linings. There is a lot of love between this community and the Stunt Track Challenge community. Will, who's been in my ear throughout, will tell me a lot about how good that game is as a speed game. And you can, in fact, get to the mythical 900 or 999 miles per hour, which, of course, is we didn't bother to code in a 4-digit speak for very fast.
Oh yeah. Talking about the patch?
Talking about Stunt Track.
Oh yeah, Stunt Track.
It's got a lot of similarities, which somewhat explains the overlap. It's very nice. And in addition, of course, back on the World Race Discord, which is, of course, its own thing, we've been playing, well, you've been playing, I've not really partaken much, but it has been in my periphery, the Accelerators collectible trading card game.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're a fan of trading cards and Hot Wheels, then by all means drop by. You don't have to run this game to be an active community member.
That's right.
There's a lot of good things going on, a lot of community projects indeed. By the way, this is Glacier's Edge, not to get too off topic. Glacier's Edge is the last track of Veteran League, which is the middle chunk, or rather the first and middle chunks of this game, which means it's only downhill from here. No, it's only more complicated and difficult tracks, but I'm sure Bengals will execute to perfection.
Pro ASIC, just because you haven't played them doesn't mean they're bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a resolute rookie player. And yeah, while we're in the end of Veteran League, we'll talk about the world record here being 24 minutes 28.11. By the way, these are on in-game times, so don't take the time you see on your screen as gospel. This case, I don't know if you have your in-game time up, Bengals?
I don't.
Okay, so I don't get a true pace check.
No, I've messed up quite a bit, so I'd rather it not be up.
Not quite world record today. And of course, that is held by our wonderful leading pack, Drew, who's just quick.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing when he plays this game.
Yeah. Also quite the advocate for Golden Arrow, which is understandable. When you are at the absolute pinnacle, you need every minute help you can get, even if it is the difference between the meta pick and almost as good as the meta pick.
I mean, it feels like I brought this car back from the dead when I started using it.
Yeah, I mean, back in ancient times, at least in speedrunning terms, in 2017, 2018, there were rumblings of this being an okay car, but it was never a mainstay. No, it was all power pipes, power piston. Interesting that they didn't complete the power trifecta in that case.
Oh, it's alright.
Oh well. So yes, that was those tracks, and indeed we move to Elite. The very best.
With lava twists.
Lava twists. It's twisty, it's lava-y, it's lava twist.
And it's slingshotty.
Indeed it is. Here's another slingshot. Just for those fans of going backwards. Oh, apparently there was a Power Rocket main preceding you.
Ah. No, that's alright.
Fair enough. Unfortunate on that miss.
Yeah, I was just testing gravity.
Yeah, of course. Gotta make sure. Get those measurements in, send them over to Bureau for Weights and Measures. So, yeah, this is Lava Twists, where I should talk about our community a little bit more. I alluded to it earlier with people doing their marvelous work playing games on the side and enjoying Hot Wheels. But there's more to it than that. In fact, there is a surprisingly active modding scene for this game. Which I suppose any licenseware game from 2003 having any modding scene is a surprise. This one is above and beyond that. So yeah, there is modified music, which you can pretty easily drop in and it's still run viable. Very nice. There is a great selection of textures, some of which I make use of in my own marathon runs.
Yes, I also make textures.
Yeah, Bengals makes textures. I also want to shout out Valkyrie and scrolling down to the place where I wrote it down.
Low polyfire.
Yeah, LPF, Low Polyfire did it. Crazy Gamer has also done a few textures. And isn't it Michael who's done a few?
Oh yeah, Michael's really good at it. He's the one who showed me how to make them.
Yeah, very talented indeed. Yeah, on that regard though, there's more than textures. So Will has a few things. That's Will who's been in my ear this whole time, feeding me tips. There is an absolute array of slightly more cursed versions of this game. Ones where the camera is top down, ones where certain models are awful. Oh yes, I've just been reminded Beast and Colt does textures. Very good indeed.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out all these people. They're marvelously talented artists who make this game enjoyable. But indeed, we've also got a playable version of one of the betas hanging around somewhere, which is insane to me that we not only have access to those files to see cut content and so forth, but we also have a fully playable version. Well, mostly playable. There's a few crashes, but that's to be expected. Yeah, Nico and another community member worked hard to make that work, and that is very appreciated. Even as it's just an intellectual thing, there's not a devolved leaderboard for the demo, but it is nice.
I've missed so many shuffles.
Yeah, there's some difficulty going on in this run, that's sure. Oh well.
My apologies. Oh, what? Oh, okay, I didn't get reset, so we're good.
Yeah, we take those, as a wise man once said.
Didn't Drew say that?
I think everyone said that at one point.
Oh. Well, yeah. That's a 333. I'm cringing.
Yeah, that is certainly a time. Hey, at least it's a satisfying number.
Sure, let's go with that.
Yeah, we've got to hunt for these silver linings wherever we can.
I believe Pyramid Run is next. Oh, I clicked a button.
Well done.
Yes, it is Pyramid Run.
Pyramid Run it is, and I should tell you a little bit about something that's more than a mod. Sorry, now I've just got a certain song stuck in my head. That is indeed the community patch for Hot Wheels World Race, which is huge. It's a full rebalance to cars. There's improvements to the AI to make it more competitive when we're doing this craziness. There's a change to the track order, shake things up a little. There's smoothing out some hitboxes, so more cars act as though they've got that rounded front and can shuffle a lot better. There's, less smoothing out hitboxes, making them more bendy so they can ply towards that shape, which is...
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing is the tether removal, sort of.
Yeah, so that's actually a pretty recent addition, isn't it? I guess subtraction. That the tether we mentioned way back in Space Out that snaps you back if you spend too long off the track or if you pull too hard, that's just gone. It's vanished. So we can pull off some absolutely insane skips.
Like on Deep Zone.
Oh man, Deep Zone's patch skip is insanely beautiful. If you haven't yet, chat, go and seek that out. In addition to that, there is a variety of... we mentioned texture mods. This is where they're essentially intended. Once they've been vetted, you can just add whichever ones appeal to you to your game and run with them without spoiling your run.
Yeah.
So this was primarily developed by the ever delightful, enigmatic Will, who has been whispering tips in my ear for what to talk about. Truly a Goliath of this community.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that's exaggerating even slightly.
well-respected member too. He's a very nice guy, and he's very, very smart.
Oh, absolutely. There's also few things that were developed by other people. So Waymint was involved, me and you even had involvement, Low Poly Fire, of course. The whole modding team had a field day, pretty much.
Oh yeah, I made the results music.
Yeah, which is always satisfying to hear. By the way, I've been told to talk to you about the Ice City skip.
Oh, the Ice City skip. You have to be insane to go for that one.
Well, I'm sure you can point out the highlights. Oh, yeah, I know the one being talked about. It is a crazy skip. The marvels of the community patch. In addition to just being a neat thing, though, for people who love this game, it is also an official category, or set of categories, for the speedrun. So not only can you play, Rookie League, Veteran League, Elite League, Vanilla, you can also play those leagues as on the patch. And the competitive times there, because of the overall increased speed of the patch, there are some insane ones. I think sub 1 minute Cloud9 is one of my favorites. My word.
I'm getting sadder and sadder as this run's going on.
Don't worry, at least take solace in the fact you're having fun. Yeah. Oh no, that is a sad total of points there at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Okay, so what's the track after this one?
This is Submerged City.
Ah, yeah, Submerged.
The second of our water tracks, and I quite like the theming in there.
I'm gonna try to do the wall transfer on laps 2 and 3.
I'm not too familiar with it, actually.
If I can pull it off, it'll be awesome, and I'll show you.
Yeah, I'm sure. So we've mentioned... Oop!
Silhouette! Get away! Get away from me.
That's something that always happens to me with you just float right over.
Yep.
And it's not like... It's weird, from a physics perspective... Well, from an actual physics perspective, it makes no sense whatsoever. But from a game physics perspective, it's almost like the car just doesn't exist.
Yeah,
you just keep going in a straight line, you just go up slightly.
Yeah, I'm not doing that shuffle along the wall here. I'm done doing that. It
Yeah,
cost me my
was
run against Waltech in the tournament.
That was a consistency nightmare for sure. So yeah, we've talked about a lot of tricks that have been happening recently, and it's very great to see this progression. But we would not be where we are today without the contributions of one man, and I think we all know who at least are familiar with this game, who I'm talking about here, huh?
Kurek.
Master Kurek, the most appropriate name given to anyone, because a master indeed he was. When playing this game, there was a 2-year streak when nobody, except for Master Kurek, had any record. That includes the 3 main categories, that includes all of the individual level categories. It doesn't include the game's extended categories, although I think he did still hold challenge mode.
He still does, yeah. Nobody just bothers to go for that one because it's RTA.
No challenge mode. I don't really know why, 'cause it's like a 2-minute run, but it's just not fun.
It's the tutorial of the game.
Yeah, run the tutorial as fast as you can. But in that time, he was not idle at the top. Master Kurek spent 2 years developing things that we now know as free ramp and fast ramp, developing the spiral skip, rooting things out, even when I was coming into the community talking about pulling off loop skip, which, it's not a viable trick at all. Don't do it. It's just...
Oh, I got it!
Even with that face of nothing is viable here, he was still willing to come in and root out some potential setups with me, and that's an incredible thing.
Yeah, he was truly he was a very helpful person too. Like, I know when I was starting off, I went to him for advice quite often.
Yeah, and happy to give it indeed he will. Set up a lot of things for the community that we are still reaping the benefit. I don't even know if we'd be doing these marathons together if he wasn't involved with the community.
Yeah, I mean, you probably would have never found me on Twitch.
Exactly. So the story of that, which I can talk about in brief, is last year towards the end, around November-ish, we had a community tournament for Rookie League, the shortest category. Naturally, I crashed out in round 2, but after that, after watching the finale of that tournament, I spotted that someone else was playing this game, and they weren't a member of the community, they weren't someone who was doing a race, they weren't even doing shuffles. That person was Bengals, and you were doing something special indeed yourself, weren't you?
I was doing something I came up with called the Flawless Challenge, where you have to do Elite League, get all the rings with all 35 cars, and come in first place in every race and never restart a race. I did that 35 times.
Yeah, there is. While there isn't a 100% category in this game, I think it's fair to say that Bengals is the most deserving of that title.
Yeah, those VODs are actually still up.
Yeah, marvelous. By the way, we're on the penultimate track here, so it's probably a good time to get a few shout-outs in. We've already shouted out our marvelous modding team and our fantastic texturers, but our moderators as well: Voltec, GK, Quitter, Sam. Marvelous people. Enigmatic Will, of course, and we've had so much fun with these people doing things. There was not only the tournament last year, but there was also a tournament just last month. I think I mentioned it briefly in passing. This was an individual level tournament where essentially a roulette wheel was spun, and whichever track it landed on, you raced. And as someone who, before that tournament, had never played anything except for Rookie League, I crashed out in the second round. I'm noticing a pattern. Are you noticing a pattern?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And yeah, it was brilliant indeed. Who won that in the end? Was it Drew?
It was Drew.
It was Drew. Yeah, quite deserving indeed, as half of the. And I think he is approaching half of the individual level records are held by him.
It was actually my first tournament, and I did pretty well for myself.
Yeah, no, you went all the way to third place.
Third. I barely lost out to Waltec, which was, of course, due to Submerged City.
Yes, unfortunate. These things happen. It wasn't a you get 3 attempts and your best plays against their best. No, it was one and done, and that messed up a few people.
Yep.
I'm satisfied with how I did. I took my first round. That's all I was hoping.
Yeah.
Although, both tournaments I've had suspicious seeding. Because no one will tell you that I'm a top tier runner. I'm top 10, but there's only 20 people who actually have run the game. And yet, in the Rookie League tournament, I go up against Eclipsed round 1, fair enough. He hadn't played for a long time before that, so I was able to take that. Then go against Kuruk, the world record holder at the time. Hang on, that's not right. Meanwhile, in the IL tournament that we've just had, first round, alright, I went against, was it Valkyrie, I think?
Yeah.
And, yeah, alright, at the time, they didn't have a time better than me. I was able to pull that one out. Only barely, mind, but I was able to pull a victory. Went up against Drew, the world record holder at the time. Hang on. I'm absolutely noticing a pattern. That is vicious.
Alright, and now we're going to the most boring track of the Elite tracks.
Yes, indeed. It is shuffle free for a good 40% of it.
Oh yeah, Vast Jungle.
Vast it is. It's not the longest track though, no, Deep Zone still has that title. It's just sort of plain. Well, plain in terms of driving, it's not plain in terms of theming. That's something I did want to mention briefly, is something that I don't see enough appreciation for, is the theming of these tracks. Watch closely at the periphery of this track, and you might notice something unusual about this forest that we're going through, or this jungle I suppose it would be. and you'll see some indications of a hidden narrative that I'd really like to explore at some point. Yeah, there's these nets here, and then suddenly we turn this corner, and oh, some drills, some big sawmills. It's being deforested. It's a lovely bit of theming that I don't think gets anywhere near enough appreciation. In fact, the reason for Tesla's Cube being a one-off track, we've gone through all the tracks now, we're on the last one. There wasn't a duplicate of Tesla's Cube's theming, and I love that the reason for that is because, unlike the rest of them, this is taking place on a test track. This is where you come to experiment and make sure the cars are working the way they're meant to. So of course it wouldn't appear twice. It's these subtle details that I really appreciate that the devs put in.
Oh, got it.
Nice routing.
And it's the only track that takes place in the real world. Real world in quotes.
Yeah, so most people, I imagine, might not be familiar with the accelerators stroke Highway 35 lore, is it worth? Mm-hmm. Most races are taking place in something called the realm, or I guess the accelerators realm, the acceleron's realm rather, whatever you want to call it. This is a plane separate from ours, which contains a mythical wheel of power, which is one hell of a MacGuffin. Honestly, what was its purpose? I think it turned some lights on.
Yeah, Tesla forgot to pay the light bill, so he needed the wheel of power.
Ah, yeah, that's the plot. There we are. Yeah, pretty much that's it. All the races that happen in the film and show.
Yeah, it's a
series is all about going through the realm and doing the races there. Tesla's Cube, uniquely because it's a test track, is taking place in the real world, which is why we don't get these mad spirals and gravity-defying jumps and so on.
Yup.
Once again, the theming is excellent. By the way, once again, last mark from the man in my ear, there was apparently an unimplemented track which was going to be similar to Tesla's, but looks like it was unfinished. So probably just a test track, something that would have taken its place maybe in challenge mode.
It's just an oblong oval.
Possibly.
Like the test course from Gran Turismo.
Yeah, like NASCAR or something. By the way, we are
a left turn.
We are at the end of lap 3, by the way, so time will happen just as we cross the finish. Call it out when it happens.
All right, let me get a good shuffle along here. And
finish.
There we go. 3:34.
Time indeed. There we are. Well done indeed to Bengals. That was a marvelous run, despite its faults.
I was gonna say no, it wasn't, but I'll take it for now.
No, you know what? We had fun with the run, and that's the real win.
That is absolutely what matters. I have fun running Power Rocket, and I will continue to do it.
Yeah, looks like a 4901 RTA. By the way, that was, of course, the end of Elite League, as you might have guessed by the fact that the run ended. The world record is a 41 flat by Drew, and the community sum of best, which I alluded to earlier, is a 39.35. There is a lot of time in this game, so if you're keen to hunt for it, go for it. Absolutely.
Definitely. We have a Discord server. We also have mine and Pro86 individual Twitch channels if you want to see content similar to this.
Indeed, indeed. We do run the game. I'm a bit of a hiatus, but Bengals is a lot more active, and there are people who run this game. So just stalk the category on Twitch. I'm sure you'll come across something in good time. With that out of the way, though, shout-outs to everyone we've shouted out, also to SB for founding this game, and of course to Bengals for doing this run. So I don't have to.
I will shout out Pro86 as well for the wonderful commentary. It's like bread and butter. It goes very well together.
Yes, indeed. One part without the other is just not a meal.
No, because nobody's gonna eat plain bread or just plain butter. That's just weird.
All right. Well, I think we're done making a meal of that. Thank you, of course, as well to Will for poking me with some extra facts and info throughout.
Thank
With
you,
that, though,
Will.
with that though, I believe the host can take it back.
Yep.